4 months from now, we're going to be ushering in 2022, and I think I'm still trying to process 2020. Steve, how about you?
Oh, golly. Wait a minute. Is this already September?
September. Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh,
Fall,
man.
November, October comes next, then November, then December.
Hunting season's what's coming up. You know
Hunting
how I know
season's
that?
coming up. Look
I got
out,
a
look
lot of
out.
guys
Hey,
calling me
folks, we
buying
got a great
tackle.
program for you today. We're going to be talking about bits. We're going to talk about buying, looking to buy a mule, talk a little bit about feed and nutrition, talk about the come along rope and Muleriders Martingale. It's going to be a great program. But first, I want to say welcome. If this is your first time ever hanging out with us, my name is Dave. This is Steve Edwards. Every single week, we get together on Wednesday at 3 o'clock Pacific time, at least as of now. We'll see what happens when daylight savings time kicks in. And we talk mules and donkeys. This is your opportunity to come hang out with folks who are just like you and me, because I really don't know a whole lot about the mules and donkeys, and I have not grown up a cowboy, but this man right here has, and that's why he's here. We're going to talk mules and donkeys for the whole hour, and there's three things that we ask. Number one, put your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather is like in the comment section. We are humans. We are people. We are created in God's image, and
Awesome.
the thing that we can do to really show one another's humanity, like respect for one another's humanity, is just to say
Oh, there
hello.
you
So
are.
we want to know that you're here so we can say hi to you. That's the first thing. The second thing is that you ask any and every mule or donkey question that you've got. And yes, okay, if you have a horse question, feel free to throw it in there. Steve's been cowboying his whole life, and he'll be happy to answer it for you. And then the third thing that we ask is that you share the broadcast. So if you're on Facebook, go ahead, click the share button, or tag a friend. If you're on YouTube, click the like button, and be sure to subscribe to our channel so that you can get first notifications for whenever we do shows in the future. That's how it works. In a second, we're going to start welcoming folks. But Steve, how are things there on the ranch?
Well, we just got some rain this morning. Real nice. 7/10 of an inch. How about that?
I'll take any tenths of an inch I can get.
Oh, man. Yeah.
That's good stuff. Yeah, out here in the desert, it's real dry, and we've been on a drought over the last 10 years or so. So all this rain is real welcome. And there is not a whole lot prettier out there than seeing the desert a couple days
Mm.
after it rains and just the mountains covered in green and wildflowers. It's really quite something to see. So yeah, let's get this party started. Like I said, we're going to be talking about Muleriders Martingale. We're going to be talking about bits. We've got some pictures to show you. We're going to be talking about Laken Light, maybe a little bit here, and what to do if you don't have it in your area. We're going to talk about the come along rope and how you can use that to get results for your mule. But getting started, we've got a few folks we're going to say hi to, and then we'll hop into our first question. We've got Herman watching, says, hi guys from Arizona. And I can tell you in
Yeah.
Arizona, it's nice weather right now. So Herman watching from
Mhm.
nice weather. Michelle is watching from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, says, looks like it's gonna rain again. We've got Dave O'Brien watching from East Texas, 98 degrees with 106 heat index. No thanks, no time. Rogers says he's watching from Milan, New York. Heavy rain and 63, and I think that's a good opportunity for us to just jump right in to our first question of the day. Steve, this one comes from somebody also named Steve. Steve had emailed in, great name, and asks this question. Says, I rode horses all my life until about 15 years ago. Even owned a couple of mules. I'm 66 years old now, and my wife passed away a year ago or so, and I'm looking to start riding again. I want to buy a good mule, and I know they are hard to find. A good mule, I mean. I know there can be good young mules out there, but I prefer 10 to 12 years old at least. At that age, they tend to be a little bit more settled, and most have been exposed to much more. I'm around 5'8" and 200 pounds, would prefer about 15 hands. Any taller, I'd have to use a stump to mount. No color don't mean squat, but I always like the look of a black mule. If you hear of a mule like this, please let me know. I live in East Texas. What would you have to say here to Steve about his journey entering back into the equine world?
Well, good for him. it's a good way to kind of always get away from the old world as we know it. It's a mess right now, always has been. It's just that right now, with the news the way it is and stuff, yeah, it's a bigger mess. So, thing about a mule is that you can get on it and ride, and you can put yourself out of this world. All right, going back. You and 10,000 other people are looking for that exact same mule. Yep, a mule that is, you just climb on it and ride. It don't exist. No. Even my wife's mule, 28 years was that mule. We had her for 26 years. I kept her fine-tuned. Okay. She had everybody from my grandkids up to a 93-year-old blind man rider. Sure did. Okay. But I said all that to say this. Educate yourself, please. Educate yourself. Watch videos. A bunch of folks are out there. They're riding mules and they're talking about different things. You watch all them people and you make decisions on your own. I wish I can say go to ABC Charlie Mule Company and you got it made. Unfortunately, ABC Charlie Mule Company is they exist about this much. All right. Last mules that I helped sell, I knew the mules. I knew them. Those were Randy Figgins mules down at the Andrada Ranch. I've known them mules for 20 years. Easy. I worked around them mules. I rode those mules. I knew those mules. So therefore, when somebody happened to call me, which I visited with them a bit and said, okay, I know where you can go, I knew the mule. But I don't know these other mules, folks. And if I know them, it can be good. But listen, the stories don't mean diddly. Oh, they've been to Colorado hunting. Oh, good. Then how come they don't tell you about how many wrecks they were in? Yep, wrecks you can have. On and on and on. So I suggest get yourself some education, okay? There's no such thing as Mr. Push Button Mule. Even my wife's mule, I had to keep it riding and keep it in a surcingle and keep it and do ground communication to keep her finely tuned so that I could use her, okay? So there we are. Stay in touch, get a bunch of education, and I hope you do good.
There's an article that Steve wrote. It's called Mules for Sale, How to Buy a Mule or Donkey on Craigslist or at Auction. I'm putting a link in the comments section so y'all can check this out. It's Mules for Sale, and really good article, and came out of folks continuing to ask this question over and over and over. So we took all of Steve's best insights and advice for how to find yourself a great mule, put it into one article. So that's there for you. We've got
the biggest thing, Dave.
Yeah.
Make sure they drink plenty of come along coffee.
That was going to be the next thing. That was the next thing that I was going to say. I was going to say, if you read any of the equine textbooks, you're going to find plenty of references in there to a little special elixir called Come Along Coffee. And I'll put a link in the comments section so y'all can get some of that. It's better than the Fountain of Youth, or so I've heard. So Carol Joe is watching from Colorado, sunny and warm. Mark is watching from Virginia. Stacy is watching, says, hi, my favorite mule peeps. We are favorite mule peeps, and you're our favorite mule peeps. Stacy in Colorado, 66 degrees and cloudy, expecting some rain tomorrow, so a little more humid than normal. Hope you stay nice and cool there, Stacy. Nancy's watching. Howdy, Steve and Dave. Nancy and Donkey here from a wet Mountain City, Tennessee, 78 degrees. Linda's here on time. Linda the mule servant, and Theo the sweet one-eyed mule from sunny, breezy, rural central Ohio. And Paulie's watching from Barnesville, Minnesota. Beautiful day today. Had a great ride this morning in the Cheyenne National Grasslands. That's awesome. Very, very good. Well, folks, be sure and ask all of your mule questions. We're going to get to this next one here, and I'm going to take a sip of water. Because there's a little bit of reading to be done. This one comes from Kaylin. Kaylin says, my name is Kaylin, and I'm new to working with mules and donkeys. I'm 28 years old, and I love to be outdoors and hunt. The last couple of years hiking my elk off the mountain made me pretty sore, and I thought there had to be a better way. I started researching and figuring out what to do. Well, I thought about llamas, goats, and everything else, finally landed on donkeys. I picked up a couple BLM burros, Bureau of Land Management burros, and they've been great. Haven't hunted with them yet, but made tons of progress and feel really comfortable with them. Packed one on a 12-mile trip into the backcountry. He's been on a few trips now, and he's a great animal. The other one is young, so I'm working with him, but waiting until his knees close fully to load him up and go. The more I've worked with them and seen them improve, the more interested I've been in mules. Donkeys are kind of gateway drug to something I can ride. I picked up 2 mules from an outfitter who runs them in Bryce Canyon National Park in the Grand Canyon. One is older, about 18, and one is 9. I think both have potential, but they need work. They've got holes in them for sure. That's where we're at now, Steve. 2 new mules, and I need to figure out where to go from here. Hoping to ride the mules and pack my donkeys on hunts. The other reason I have them is because I've got a 2-year-old and I want to take him into the woods with the family, but can't walk 10 miles in a day. I'm hoping next year we can lead an animal with him, or he can ride with me or his mom. Steve, any thoughts on this new journey that Kaylin is on?
Uh, you gonna live, Dave?
I'll be okay. I'll be
Yeah,
okay.
Dave, I got to go back to ground communication with anything, folks. Don't bring the mule home, the donkey home. Put it out in the pasture and say, okay, I got me a mule or a donkey, trained or untrained, whatever. You need to put them in a small pen, put the come along rope on them, use a ground communication kit. That is how you get used to them, folks. Build a foundation. When you're working with the ground communication, I was talking about this last time. Forget about the halters. Forget about it. Use that come along hitch. Get used to handling it. You pull the mule up, you pull the donkey up, brush them all off. Don't tie them up. Let them get used to being ground tied. Spend time with them.
Awesome. Sounds like he's got adventures coming up. I love hearing that. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I hear him talking about what he's got going on, and my first thought was like, well, that's gonna be pretty good. Let's hop back into the chat and see who's hanging out with us now. We've got Ross watching from Emmett, Idaho. We've got James watching from Western Maryland, 65 degrees and rainy. Cowboy Ken is watching from Connecticut, 63 and raining. Susan is watching. Greetings from Newcastle, Colorado, 59 degrees and raining. Greg is watching, and he's got a question. He says, can you use mule training techniques on horses? I haven't converted my granddaughter to mules just yet. Steve, can you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I tell you what, I wish I'd have worked with mules a long time ago. It's kind of like having wished I'd had grandkids before I had kids, Hey Dave, it sounds like the oceans in my speaker. Is that me or what is it?
I'm not sure. You keep going and let me see if I can fix it for you.
Well, I can't see my voice sticking with my words, but I sounds like in the background like I hear shh.
Let me see here. Does that help at all?
I just figured it was me, just gone. There goes my hearing along with everything else that's going.
Does that help at all, Steve, right there?
Hey, well, I hear you pretty good, but it looks like my voice when I say a word, like right here, I'm going to point.
Oh, don't worry about that. So we've got some pictures that we're going to show today. Steve asked if we could show some pictures. So I've got it on a different setting, Steve, so you can see what we're looking at. And there's a little bit of a lag, but you look great from this end. Everyone, doesn't he look great? Doesn't he look great and sound great? Yeah, I'm sorry if that was distracting you. I didn't even think about that.
No problem. I'm just having a hard time hearing. Now, let's go back to the question now. Yes, I would use my basic techniques except for my saddle. Never put my saddle on a horse. You're going to get yourself bucked off, okay? But go ahead, yeah. All these techniques here, use it on your horse.
Very good. Yeah, that's one question that we get as well is, techniques, saddle, and then saddle pad. And Steve, I know you've heard some folks say they've had success with a saddle pad, your saddle pad, which is designed for the mule and the donkey bone structure. They've used it on their horse, and I don't think I've ever heard you say not to on the pad, but the saddle itself, it doesn't work on the horse for the same reason a horse saddle doesn't work on the mule, correct?
Exactly. I mean, it's completely different fit. Don't kid yourself. But the pad, yeah, I've got a lot of clients who swear by it. Now, I don't know. I can't say that I've ever had my pad on a horse's back. Oh, I take that back. There was a couple times, but I don't remember paying any attention. Anyway, what's next?
There we go. Jerry is watching from Indiana. Good to have you here, Jerry. Great weather here. Planning on riding in the Little Italy Festival on Friday in Clinton, Indiana. My granddaughter and I. We look forward to it every year. Glad to have you two back. Always learning something. Thanks, Jerry. Appreciate that. Really appreciate you being here as often as you are. It means a lot to us. Trace is watching. Hey, here we go. We're going international, coming all the way from down under, Queensland, Australia. Good to have you here, Trace. Every day is a good day when Queen Valley live stream day. Hope you're doing well. Steve and Dave from Queensland, Australia. Overcast, a top of 80.6. Thank you so much, Trace. Appreciate that. David O'Brien is giving you a little bit of comfort, Steve. He says, sounds great here. D. Basil is saying great. Linda says good looking. So there you go. Watch out. Stacy says, looking good, Steve. RV gives you the thumbs up, so I think you're good to go. Greg is watching. Yolanda is here. We've gone international. Yolanda's here, holding down Mule Ranch, the unofficial Mule Ranch, Netherlands. Nancy is watching, says, yes, he always looks great. The ocean sound is the waves of your mind, Steve. Let's see here. Wendy is watching. Fiona is watching. It's windy, but finally, some dry, sunny weather, 24 degrees Celsius in Victoria, Australia. International again. How awesome. Yeah. Jim is watching 73 degrees and partly cloudy Irondale, Alabama. And hey, Sherman Johnson's here. Johnson Taxidermy. Norman, Oklahoma, 98 degrees. Good to have you here. Steve, let's get into this topic of bits. You had said that you wanted to discuss bits a little bit. And so I've got your photos, and I've got let's see, was it the message you sent to me was the Muleriders Martingale. Let's talk about bits first, Steve. I got the photos. Do you want me to start throwing those up?
Sure.
All right, can you see that there?
That's not a bit. That's a shoe.
Oh, I grabbed shoe. I meant shoes. That's what I meant. I accidentally typed bit and then put in shoes. Let's talk shoes.
That was it. Yeah, I was thinking bits. I thought we were talking shoes. Okay, whatever, Dave. So yes, you probably heard the name Carol Joe when he was saying hello to everybody. Carol Joe in Colorado. Just a minute. I think Jess said he wants in. Jess, are you here? No.
I heard him at the door. Live show, folks.
Sometimes he needs to watch the show. Anyway, it says my connection is lost.
I can hear you. I can see you. Can you see me?
Still there?
Yeah, we're here. Oh no.
Oh my.
Oh no, Steve.
Oh my.
Can you hear me?
Anybody home?
Hopefully we don't lose him.
There he is.
There he is. All right. Drop for a second there.
So you probably heard Dave say earlier, mention the name of Carol Joe in Colorado, and she's watching. She was the one that sent these pictures in, okay? Now, she was also, her and her husband, which has got a great name, by the way, they actually purchased the mules from the Andrada Ranch. And so they got a whole new life above them, okay? And these mules were, yes, experienced. In their 20s, excellent mules. Now, she is experiencing shoeing problems. Unfortunately, folks, farriers, shoers, whatever you want to call them, there are some of them that are really good and some of them that are really bad. Now you can have all kinds of people say all kinds of things, but here's the thing I got to tell you is that yes, the mule is different, but there are certain things that you have to do in order to be able to have the mule standing correctly. The shoe. Now, that shoe you should be able to take at least a dime, maybe a nickel would be better, and have it go all the way around the outside edge. Should be like that. Now, why is that? Because I want expansion. I want the foot to go down and expand. All right. Now, let's keep this shoe right here just a minute.
Okay.
Now, here's the deal, folks. When the foot goes down, it expands. It comes up, it contracts. Now, I'm overemphasizing here, but that's what it does. When you take and shoe a mule, horse, whatever, but especially a mule, because they got narrow feet, when you take and start crunching them up and making too tight of a foot, the foot is going to come in. It's called contraction, and especially around the heels. You can see this foot right here. It's actually got a good healthy frog, but the shoes in the back, those are called the branches. That's the back part right there. From there down to the first nail. Right there. That's called the branch. That branch should not be that tight. That branch should not come around and be touching the frog. That branch should be wide so that this is what happens. Here's the branches as you see it. When those things are tight, so comes in the back of the foot. I want that foot to come down and expand. Down and expand. That's what we want, okay? By having that, we can keep the heel from contracting. When it contracts, we end up with a small frog. And when you don't have a frog to pump good blood up and down the leg, you don't have a good leg. All right? Now look. If you notice on this frog, it comes to a point. All right? You see that point? That point should point to the center of the shoe. Notice that the shoe is on there crooked. So when you go straight down, it should be at the center of that shoe. And it is not. It's off probably a good 1/4 inch or more. Okay? You want it straight down. Straight down. Now, if you look at this shoe on 1924, that one there, bring that one up. All right? Now, look at that shoe. It's, again, the same way. The frog is pointing straight ahead. And notice that the shoe is tilted. The shoe is tilted. Okay? Notice that. Now, you're going a little bit crooked there, Dave, but that's you're coming close.
All right.
The shoe is tilted. All right? Now, no, and this is not a bad fault, but it's not necessary. Notice we can't count 8 nails on the shoe. 8 of them. 4 on each side. You don't need 8 nails on the shoe. Listen, folks, I have been shoeing my own animals for 45 years probably. I learned from an old mule skinner that wrote a book called The Mule. Very, very interesting book. And he says, if a shoer can shoe, all you need is 4 nails in the shoe. That means the 2 front nails. One in the very front, on the right and on the left, and the next one back. And then the rest of the shoe, the rest of the foot can expand. Expand, okay? That's what you want. You want it to expand. And when you take and you put all those nails in there, yeah, that shoe probably won't go anywhere. But the problem is you're contracting the foot. In other words, you're making the foot, instead of it coming down and being out like this, you're squeezing it together. Now, these are 20-some-odd-year-old mules. Their bones are already there. Everything is already as square as it's going to be, y'all, okay? But you do this on a 2-year-old, you're crippling him, and you could be crippling for life. So here's the other thing. Notice how each one of the frogs in the back on the bulbs, notice how they cut out the frog in order so that the shoe does not hit the frog. When what they should have done was made the shoe come out to not only protect the frog, but have expansion. You hear that? Now, do you see the 2 dark lines on both sides of the frog? Those are the canals. We need to have those canals. Don't cut the frog out, okay? Don't cut the frog out to make those canals. Trim the sole. Trim the sole. Notice he trimmed on the frog. The frog, folks, will naturally shed off. It will naturally keep its shape. You should rarely put a knife to a frog. Rarely. Okay? Now, let's go up here. Okay. Yeah, right there. That's a good one. The 1916. Okay. Now, notice, folks, again, we've got a crooked shoe. It's crooked. But notice the other thing about this. You see how the toe sticks in front of the shoe and it's there? Now, I would rather have that than dubbed off, because the dubbed off just breaks down the wall of the shoe. Now, about 20 some odd years ago, a lot of the shoers started doing this very same shoeing, and they claimed it strengthened the wall of the shoe, okay? And when you're in heavy rocks and stuff, it's going to break that toe off, okay? That it's going to do. For just the average old riding going down the road, not such a bad deal, okay? Not such a bad deal at all. But you can see, again, he's got it too tight in the back. Now, listen. When your branches, that's the back part of that shoe, from the very end down to the first nail, when those branches are laying flat, that's good, okay? But if I want my heel to expand, I have to take the branches of my shoe and I have to tilt them like this. Now, I'm overemphasizing, okay? But imagine this. The foot comes down, it goes out. Are you okay, Dave?
Yeah.
I hear a bunch of noise.
Sorry, apologize.
Okay. So the heel comes down and expands. Then I get my heel wider. When the heel is wider, I got a nice, healthy frog. That's what I want. I'm dependent on that frog to pump blood up and down that leg. All right? So, again, another crooked shoe. That frog should point toward the center of the shoe, period. And you can obviously see that one's crooked. Okay, let's go to the next picture here. Okay, there. Okay, here's what's happened here, folks. And you know, he's there again. He's put 4 nails on each side. Good for him. He's cleaned them off nice. Good for him. That's good. But notice how you don't see the shoe outside of the hoof, except, well, a little bit over there to the right side.
A little bit
not
right
much.
here.
Yeah, but that's only because of the quarter. That's the quarter right there. That's called the quarter. That's where you're going to get most of your cracks. That's the place you don't want to nail. That's the best place. Quarters are always the softest place on your foot, especially the mule. The reason that curves in like that away from that shoe is because that donkey, his daddy donkey, was from some of the older breed, but still a nice foot, okay? The one thing about Randy, the one that used to own these mules that Carol and Steve got, you know, he always took good care of their feet and stuff, you know, always did. So here's the thing, folks. You see the angles of that shoe? Now, look at the slope of the shoulder of your mule. The slope of the shoulder tells you the angle of your leg and your foot. Slope of that. That's the same angle you'll be using on the back foot as you do the front. The natural way to shoe and trim. Hear that, folks? Natural way is not to have them all at a 75 or all at a 65 or whatever using the protractor on them, okay? No. Trim them, balance them according to slope of the shoulder. That's when you're going to have it right, okay? All right, let's go to the next one here. Yeah, that one right there. Down. Well, that one would be all right, okay? Well, there we go. That's a good one. See, that's a nice, healthy frog, okay? It really is nice. But again, we got a crooked shoe. You see that? Shoe is crooked. Simple enough to fix. It really can. Now, notice here, he did good here. He only put 3 nails on each side. Now you can have some expansion of the heel. But notice how the branch is touching the frog. You see that? Shouldn't be, folks. That shoe should nothing be touching that frog except for the ground. No reason to be trimming on that frog, okay? Unless, well, I take that back. If you got some disease in it, yes, okay? Then you can do that. But otherwise, trim the sole back so that your canals are clean and all your dirt can go out. There again, folks, that, all you need, that's all you need is 4 nails. Now, I had draft mules that were out of Shire mules, Shires, and they pulled wagons. And I've punched cows through this country. I've roped them. I've worked them. This is volcanic rock around here. It's sharp. It can pull shoes off. Even when I was doing 8 nails years ago, I could still pull shoes off. But I'm telling you, I had a better foot when I only had 4 nails, period. Okay? Now, have we looked at 919? Those are new ones.
1919, that's the one we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
There's 1921.
Okay. 1921, okay.
22.
Yeah.
23.
That's there you go. Okay.
24.
Look at that good, healthy, big old frog. That's a nice frog.
But still cutting into the frog right here with the.
It's still cutting the frog.
So
That's
you
right.
want so it's almost like you want these from this back position right here, this nail position, to go straight, almost straight back. You want to shape them to go almost straight.
Actually, no.
No?
You want them to curve out because that's what you want to do, because that branch should curve out away from the bulbs of that frog.
Almost, I'm exaggerating, but almost like this. Almost like, oh, you know what, Steve? Check this.
You know all them tricks, Dave.
You almost kind of want it like this?
Yeah. Curve out. Curve out. Come out away from that frog. Okay? And it's easy to do, folks. Listen, these are most likely St. Croix shoes. That's what I use a lot. They're not, quote, a mule shoe, but you can shape them. If you are a farrier, you're a shoer, you should be able to shape them. And these new shoes, I quit using a forge. Didn't need to. But the older shoes, I had to use a forge and heat them up. Okay? Now, Carol Jo sent me these pictures, and she's really worried. She says, what am I going to do, Steve? I can't find a farrier. Well, okay. It's like trying to find a good mule. Nah, they don't exist very much. They're not very dependable, and I can go on and on. But you find a good, dependable shoer that does you a good job, you're going to be spending, get this, folks, you're probably going to be spending between $150 and $200 to take and put shoes on your mule correctly. Yes, you need to do that. And in Colorado, I would think there'd be a lot of good shoers around in that country. And here's the deal. The good ones, they're going to be really busy. Okay? They really are. But folks, that's the basics there. No reason for for that other than, I don't know. I don't know the shoer. Maybe he had a sore back that day. I mean, that can happen. It's tough climbing underneath them. Listen, let's go back. Let's don't pick on the shoer. Let's pick on the owner of the mule. Okay? The buck stops right there. It is not up to the shoer to keep the mule standing quiet. It's not. What you should be doing is get that come along hitch, teach that mule to pick up that foot and hand it to you. Listen, I've had people tell me they've impressed the heck out of a shoer when they've just touched the button and they reach up and pick it up. All right? That mule should never lean on a shoer. Never do that. That is your fault. It's not the shoer's fault. Now, I can tell you, back in my younger days, we used to take them, flip them upside down, tie their feet to a post in the middle of the corral, and shot them all just like this, with their feet sticking up in the air. Yeah, okay? But that was a tough way. But we had broncs back then, tough ones. These today are, these mules here have been shot thousands of times by a good shoer, okay? Probably 1,000 times anyway. So Carol Joe says, where am I going to find a shoer? Well, you're going to have to talk to people, visit with them. Listen, there's a lot of ladies out there that are good shoers, but go back to it is up to you to teach the mule to stand quiet, and it's up to you to be right there to help him out, to make sure the mule stands quiet. Okay?
Very good. We've got some questions here. Let's see. I want to get back to, going to jump around a bit. Nancy says, someone told me I needed to shoe my donkey. Do I have to if I don't ride or drive him yet? Also, we still have a front hoof that has grown over the frog. We're still working and correcting the problem as he has never been trimmed or cared for before me. He's 4.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to do corrective shoeing, then definitely have to shoe your mules, your donkeys, I mean. Now, I can tell you what we used to do was take car tires and make little shoes. Take the saw and cut out some nice little shoes, drill 4 nails in it, nail holes, and put those on. Now, that won't help you with your fixing your contraction and doing other type of work to try to get the foot correct, okay? If you are going to be riding your donkey out there on all that gravel and stuff, you must keep a shoe on him to keep from getting separation of lamina, to keep from getting contracted heels. The donkey's got the worst equine foot of any of them, folks. Now look, here's 3 fingers, okay? This one right here, this is the outside wall. This one right here is the lamina. That's the shock absorber right there. That's a shock absorber to protect this very important part right here, which is called the coffin bone. Okay? So the hoof wall, the lamina, coffin bone. If the hoof wall starts rotating in, will push against the coffin, you'll have a crippled animal. The shoulder is what you trim your mules and donkeys to. Slope of the shoulder. It should all be at that angle. Not straight up and okay, but follow the shoulder. If you get some problems, some corrective, that's when you got to get, yes. Okay?
Steve, are you there? Can you hear me?
Tell you. Am I, I see it in this, I'm doing good, but this, I'm not doing.
Yeah, it's breaking.
State,
it's breaking up. It's breaking up a little bit. I'm not sure if it's on my end or if it's on your end there. Are y'all able to see me? Are y'all able to see me? Okay. Just want to see if there's something going on that I can fix here. Let's see here. We can hear him, but he breaks up. Yeah, I think the internet there is getting a little bit fussy on your end, Steve. It might
Okay.
resolve here in a second. While we're waiting for it to resolve, let me greet a few more folks here. Let's see. Um, Kaylin's here. Wow, first time joining a live chat, and you start with my introduction email. I'll have to hop into these more frequently. Awesome, Kaylin. I'm glad that you're here. Thanks for hopping in. RV says, wish we could go to Ozark Mule Days in Missouri, September 1 through 3rd. Wish I was there. Mark is watching, says, watching from Bon Aqua, Tennessee. A very nice day here. I was thoroughly impressed when Steve gave me a call this afternoon and talked to me about my mule. So there we go. I think, Steve, are you gone? I think we lost you. Let me call you right back, Steve. I'm going to call him right back. See if we can get ourselves a better connection here. Can you? Ooh, it looks like he may have dropped. Looks like he may have dropped. Oh, here we go. All right, let's see here.
So it looks like my voice right with my picture here.
Can't see you just yet.
I see.
Yeah. Let's see here.
I see the hand corner, and I see Dave and Dave here just standing there.
Let's see.
What's going on? You there?
Yeah. Can you hear us? I think his internet's getting a little bit finicky. I thought we had that resolved.
There you are.
That seems better. Turn on your camera there.
Turn off.
No, turn on your camera. It's not coming through.
Me. It's on. Let me just camera. Tricks the Dave show.
That your
Connect.
internet's acting a little bit fussy out there, Steve.
Thing. Come out here and put some other stuff into it as well. But they that all fixed up. Okay, I see two. Camera changed to using device to record me. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Let's see here. You know what we ought to try to do? Because it keeps dropping the video, Steve. It keeps dropping the video. Do you have Skype? Do you have Skype on your cell phone?
Skype. So
Because if you got Skype on your cell phone, maybe we give that a try. Let's see here. Let me keep going through. William is watching from Pasco, Washington, 75 degrees. Beautiful day working for the foundational work, making progress. Love the come along. Donkeys are responding well. Love hearing that. Let's see. Around the seams. Hello, Steve and Dave. Ron and Virginia from Burge Hill, Ohio. Little windy, 70 degrees and sunny. Glad to hear that. Let's see. Let's see. Hey, Jackie is here from Prescott. Good to have you. Jackie, is it Prescott or Prescott up where you're at? Prescott or Prescott where you're at? Let me know. Let's get the final word here. And then Kate is watching from Nanango, Australia, international again. All right, Steve, were you able to see if you have it on your phone? Yeah, folks, I apologize. I apologize for the trouble here. Like I said, the Wi-Fi's been a little bit finicky in the past, and Wi-Fi's been a little bit finicky in the past out there where he's at on the ranch, and so they've been working on trying to get that resolved. Basically, I mean, not that anybody wants a education in how the internet works, but all of the information streams and it just gets broken up. And so if he's just surfing the internet, if you're just surfing the internet, you don't really notice. But when it's video, kidnappers took Steve. When it's video, you get these drops in it. So let's see here. All right, Steve, can you see me or hear me? Let's see what we can get here. He's been abducted by aliens. Pay the ransom. Bring us Steve. That's funny. I could see you, but now I can't hear you. There he is. Now I can hear you.
Now you can hear me?
Now I can hear you. Who knows what's going on there, Steve? Let's hop back into it. Let's see if we can wrap up this particular episode getting these questions answered. So let's go back up here, make sure we get to everybody. Okay. Trace has a question. Rear cinch, should it be neoprene? Is it going to mold to the belly properly? Seen others using mohair type. What do you say, Steve?
I never have liked mohair. I found that it's really hard to clean and keep nice. I had a lot more cinch with mohair than I did the perforated neoprene. Now remember, this is perforated neoprene, all right? And my cinches are made in such a way so that they're elastic. They expand and contract. That's one thing I like to do, Dave. Have a little bit more talking about my cinches a little bit more detail. But that's the idea of the perforated neoprene. It creates the sweat. And that's what we want, which lubricates the animal. The problem with the mohair is being able to keep it clean, super clean. I can tell you, like when I was up the Grand Canyon, we cleaned our cinches after every single ride. And the reason we did that is because we would take the little bugs and stuff, I'm going to call them the germs and stuff that were on that cinch, and we take them to the next animal. We kept having cinch spores. So we washed them and we used bleach on them and everything. That's when I started going to the perforated neoprene. It quit all those problems.
All right, let's keep moving right along here. Let's see. Gary Green is watching from Tularosa. Hope Ray and Murph are doing well.
Hey, Gary.
Yep, Gary's there. Daryl's watching
Yep.
in sunny and 99-degree Dallas, Texas. Let's see here. Cowgirl says, should I have the Farrier stop shoeing until I find another Farrier? What about natural balance shoeing?
Forget about that natural balance shooting stuff, folks. Listen, this is one of my favorite stories. I've got a bunch of them like this, but Best of America by horseback, we were going to go from Mexico up to Canada, cross country. And a bunch of natural balance people come out with their shoes all gone and all barefooted shoes. They lasted 3 days. They were crippled and had to go back to the East Coast again. That's just one of many examples. People say, well, what about the wild horses? Well, you should be coming out with me sometime with those wild horses and see what their feet look like. They're crippled. They're crooked, you know. They're no, it's not going to work. Okay, now, if any of you want to show this excerpt to your shoer and say, here, this is what Steve has to say, and if your shoer wants to call me and ask me for any kind of help, I'll be happy to do it. Okay. Now this guy looks like he did a really good average job of shoeing. You know, they do get in a hurry at times, and it's cold sometimes or too hot sometimes. Yada yada. I know what it's like. Okay. Listen. Number one thing: don't touch the frog. Number two thing, okay, always have the shoe be a little bigger than the foot. Take you a dime or a nickel would be best and go all around the outside edges so that you have expansion. That's the biggest problem with the mules and donkeys is that folks don't understand they need expansion. It's really easy for that foot to get up like that. So um, just, all I can say to y'all looking for a farrier, just keep looking till you got one happy and you take good care of him.
Arsha sent in an email. This is the one you forwarded me, Steve. I will listen later this evening. My mule has been in the Muleriders martingale since November, 4 to 6 hours a week. He opens his mouth at some time every ride. Should I put a cavesson on him, or is that too much on the nose? I want to transition to the trail rider bit and have had it on him in a round pin. Head is vertical at walk and trot in both bits. Can mostly one hand the martingale. Should I continue to martingale? What about gapping mouth? Thank you, Marcia from Texas.
Hey, Marcia. So, you're doing good. Folks, anytime you're building a foundation, it is 6 months, 4 to 6 hours a week, okay? 6 months. Now, can you go over that 4 to 6 hours? Absolutely. Sometimes you have to. Can you do less? Yeah, sometimes you have to. Now, if they're gapping their mouth, don't make them and put a cavesson over their mouth and shut their mouth shut. Okay, they're telling you something here, and I don't know what it is unless I see it. Now, my first question is, have you had the teeth floated? Okay, and if so, are you sure they're done right? Now, listen, folks, take the upper jaw, lower jaw, and move it right, left, right, left. Listen for the grinding. All right, listen for the grinding. If you hear grinding, I'm sorry, your person that did the floating of the teeth didn't do that good of a job. And right in behind the eye, right here, you touch right in there, and if you see above the eye, it going balling up like a balloon popping up in the middle, okay? If you see that, then the TMJs are hanging up. So try those things. And if they're gapping their mouth, you may need to lower the bit. That's one of the downsides is a lot of folks when the tongue gets over top of the bit, they figure they can raise the bit up higher, and then he can't get his tongue over it. No, he'll get his tongue over it. Now, you're right. When you can one-handed steer your mule, which normally you use direct training, okay? When you can one-handed go to the left, one-handed go to the right, one-handed back up, one-handed go forward and stop, yes, it is time for the transition to go from the Muleriders martingale to transition to the finished bit. All right? Yes. Now, you should have been and should be doing after the first 3 months, you can start introducing the trail rider. And then by the end of 6 months, you can go martingale, trail rider bit, martingale, trail rider bit, trail rider bit, and we do it. All right. Sometimes though, folks, if you have, which happens a lot, when you're at these mules, have learned to mouth. Right? Let them gap. When they get, yeah, they're uncomfortable. Check out the teeth. Also, don't be gapping. And you can take your right, left, right, left, right. Okay, and you can get out. If you're not on the ground, take your buggy and slap it. Make them go faster. And quit thinking of. Sometimes you do that.
Hey, Steve, it's breaking up pretty badly. I think we'll just need to call it. I can hear maybe one or two consonants every couple seconds. So something's fussy with the internet. I think we'll call it a little bit early for today and maybe hopefully figure out what's going on. So next week we can have a better program. So folks, sorry about the technical difficulties there. It's coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out. Steve and I will practice some stuff. Yeah, Nancy says real choppy. So we'll try and figure it out and have it ready for next week. But I do appreciate y'all being here. If you had a taste in your mouth ready, your mouth was watering for a little bit of Queen Valley Mule Ranch today, and this didn't quite satisfy the palate, I got good news for you. We've got probably over 100 different episodes that you can go back and you could check out, and we'll go ahead and see if we can get our stuff fixed up so that next week we can have a brand new episode. So, Steve, I can see you for a second. You want to say anything to folks before we say goodbye? Your voice is gone now too. So it's technical difficulties, but you know what? I appreciate that we have a really good track record here with y'all, and y'all know that we'll figure it out and fix it up. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next week. YouTube.com. Go check out, look for Mule Ranch. All of our past episodes, you can go check them out there. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.